8th, 2025. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon. Before we get started, just some safety and ground rules. Please note the fire exits to my right. The restrooms are in the hallway. The town board welcomes public input at every meeting. Step up to the lectern, state your name and address. The meeting is being recorded, and it's important for the people at home to hear you. All speakers must be respectful. Inappropriate conduct will result in termination of speaking time. The public input period is not a discussion. The board will not respond to comments. Address all questions and comments to the town supervisor. I will notify each speaker when their time is up. Madam Clerk will keep the time. The statements made are the speaker's opinion, and it's up to each individual to verify the facts. And with that, we have, before we do, Madam Clerk will do the roll call, and then we'll do the proclamations after that.
Supervisor Evans.
Here?
Councilwoman Cunningham.
Here.
Councilman Malone.
Esau out of town for work.
Councilman Perticone.
Here.
Deputy Supervisor Weiner.
Here.
Attorney for the town.
Here.
And we have a couple of proclamations. Madam Chief of Staff will read the proclamations. And I'm asking the town board to join me down below.
The first proclamation is for Centenary Proclamation, honoring Elizabeth Madeline Margaret Roush Walsh, also known as Betty. Elizabeth Betty Madeline Margaret Roush was born on March 4th in 1925 in Rochester, New York, and overcame early challenges to build a remarkable life dedicated to family, service, and community. Whereas Betty proudly graduated from Our Lady of Mercy High School in 1943 and went on to serve her country as a member of the United States Navy Waves, assisting veterans during World War II. And whereas after her service, Betty joined Eastman Kodak, where she met her lifelong partner, J. Robert Walsh, and together they built a loving family, raising 4 children in Irondequoit. And whereas since 1963, Betty has called Irondequoit home, contributing to the community through her dedication to family, faith, and service, and is a cherished resident, grandmother to 12, and great-grandmother to 6. And whereas on behalf of the entire town board, we wish to express our sincere appreciation to Betty for her unwavering strength, kindness, and contributions to the town of Irondequoit. And now let it be proclaimed that Andre Evans, town supervisor, and the town board of the town of Irondequoit do hereby recognize this occasion in the town of Irondequoit and urge all residents to join us in celebrating Betty Walsh's extraordinary life and legacy. Let it be known that Betty Walsh is a credit to herself, her family, and our great Irondequoit community, the great state of New York, and the United States of America. Betty is not here tonight, but she is watching online, so thank you, Betty. The second proclamation is honoring Mary Beth Edgeling for her dedicated service to the town of Irondequoit. Whereas Mary Beth began her service with the town of Irondequoit on February 27, 2017 as a school traffic guard, and through her dedication and leadership was promoted to school traffic guard coordinator in January of 2018. And whereas Mary Beth has brought exceptional leadership, enthusiasm, and commitment to her role, ensuring the safety of students and the effectiveness of the program. And whereas her attention to detail, initiative, and willingness to implement best practices have significantly enhanced the department, making a lasting impact on the town of Irondequoit. And whereas Mary Beth's strong work ethic, organizational skills, and dedication to the well-being of her team and the community have earned her the respect and admiration of colleagues and residents alike. And whereas, on behalf of the entire town board, we wish to express our sincere gratitude to Mary Beth for her outstanding service, commitment to excellence, and unwavering dedication to the safety of our community. And now let it be proclaimed that Andre Evans, Town Supervisor, and the Town Board of the Town of Arundecoit do hereby recognize this occasion in the Town of Arundecoit and urge all residents to join us in celebrating Mary Beth's contributions and wishing her continued success. Let it be known that Mary Beth is a credit to herself, her colleagues, our greater Arundecoit community, and the Town of Arundecoit. So proclaim this 18th day of March, 2025.
Thank you, everyone. Maeve, would you come up here, please? And Aaron, would you come up here also? There's a couple people I want to thank before I thank the people that aren't quite so important as these two. I came upon an accident and was able to give these two young women direction. They were incredibly courageous. They were very brave. They stayed calm. They followed instructions. And one of the reasons why things were so successful is because Maeve and Aaron did what they were asked to do. They deserve a hand. And I also would like to say that any one of the crossing guards in the crossing guard unit, if they had come upon the scene, would have done exactly the same thing. I feel kind of funny accepting this because I know that any guard on the unit would do that. And part of the reason for that is we are so supported by the town. We're so supported by the police department. Our training is exceptional. We keep having training, and when you train and when you're supported, you can't help but have things work out every single time. So thank you, Chief. Thank you, Supervisor and Board. I appreciate it.
And I also want to take time to recognize Troop 220, who's been very active in our community, building new leaders. So please, Troop 220, stand up as part of the merit badge. Let's give these young people a round of applause. Thank you very much, and thanks also for the adult leaders who've dedicated so much. I know how much you put into the troops, and I'm very, very proud every time I see you guys. Thank you. Now this brings us to the public input portion of the meeting. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone for public input? Okay. Now, we also have a public hearing, so I just want to make sure that everyone who signed the public input, or you're here for the public hearing or for the public input. So if it's for the public hearing, if I call your name, just say you speak at the public hearing later on. The first one to speak is Mark Howdow.
Hello, my name is Mark Haldo. I live at 39 Schnackle Drive. I'm talking about the short-term rentals again. I did go online and look at some of the information that was proposed, or whatever you want to call it. I know some people here were saying that it should be more than 28 days, which I wouldn't be opposed to either, if it was a little longer. Because it's still, month to month is still kind of a short not as short as every 2 days, but it is still kind of a short rental. And some of the other things is the fines. If someone is doing a short-term rental, a lot of these places can make more than $500 a night. So if they're only getting charged $500 for one time, well, if they have a weak, client there at $500 a day, that $500 fine is nothing. So, they'll just keep doing it and just pay the fine. I mean, they'll still be making money through that. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next speaker, how would you say your last name? Smith? For your public input. Okay. Yes. Please give your name and your address.
Hello, my name is Nefertari Pinnock Smith. My address is 82 Lafayette Road, Rochester, New York, 14609. I'm new to this, so bear with me. So to the Town Board of Arundecoit. This is about code. In the special meeting that I believe was held on February 20th, some of you stated it was an emergency to hire a lawyer. Mr. Evans attempted to inform you that it was against Section 5 of the Town Code to do so. The retort of a few board members was that sexual harassment is also against Town Code. This statement offers up the implication that the Arundecoit Town Board believes that one alleged wrongdoing justifies another. I originally wanted to pose the question, does the fact that Evans allegedly broke code via harassment give you permission to break code by stepping outside the bounds of Section 5? Potentially and allegedly, seeing as it is currently unknown to me what is in Section 5, as it seems to no longer exist online apparently, which also seems relatively convenient and opportunistic. Clearly this question is Socratic in nature anyway, so I shall offer up my opinion that no, this is not acceptable. One alleged wrongdoing does not justify another, and at this level of public service is unacceptable to consider, let alone execute, as it seems has happened. Secondly, I was interested to see what was in Section 5 of the Arundecoit Town Code to only find it displaying reserved and was subsequently blank. I am wondering what happened to Section 5 of the Arundecoit Town Code, and why does it seem to be the only chapter with this designation of reserved? I personally would like to be able to review a copy of this code and would welcome anyone who has a copy to email me one at my email address, which is neffee, Neffee, 88 @gmail.com. Once again, my email address is neffee, Neffee, 88 @gmail.com. Sincerely, your resident and constituent, Nefertari Pinnock Smith. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Marcia Enright?
My name is Marcia Enright. I live at 75 Clay Avenue. I'm not a resident, but pretty much my entire family is. I would like to thank this board, the past board, and both the past supervisor and this supervisor. I have reviewed the packet on short-term rentals from the workshop. I would like to see no variances or special use permits ever allowed to be entered into the document. Once you allow a special use permit to be used for a short-term rental, it will rather set a precedent for someone else to use. So I'd like to see that put in the document. Also, 23575A Part A, when you say except hotels or motels, I would have a question on that. I was waiting for him. I would have a question on that being in there because New York state law now says, and this is bill number 885, now declares all short-term rentals are hotels. So if you put the inclusion of motels or hotels within this new bill, will this lead to possible misunderstandings among the people reading it or litigation for the town? And question of compliance. Will the town notify the Department of State of their decision on this matter? Will you notify the booking agents on your decision? A fine is a figure that I have looked through several codes, and $500 seems to be the choice for most of the codes. So I would agree that you stay with the $500, however, per night, not per incident, per night. With IPD notifying the guests that they are staying in an illegal property and the fine to the owner. The next question is, who do we, the people, report this to when it still remains a problem? Do we report it to the Department of State? Do we report it to the town, the police, buildings? Who do we report it to? That decision will have to be made by you. Thanks much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Mario Mangione? I'm sorry, I always pronounce your last name incorrectly. Please correct me.
Yes, sir. Mario Mangione,
Mangione.
206 Vinyl Avenue. Thank you much. So, I'm here today because I'd like to clarify some statements that were made through the press last month during the public meeting where obviously the censure of the town supervisor, that decision was made. There were a lot of media reports that were coming out erroneously, falsely, stating that I had made the remark that this was about racism. I did not. I want to assure all of you, and as I told the reporter that night, I did not make the statement or point a finger and call anyone racist. That would be false. And as a student of anti-racist educator and an anti-racist educator, I would never point the finger at anyone and call them racist without just cause, without having any evidence to support that. So clarifying what I said, because the press ran with this and there were several people on various social media sites, including the town, stating that they figured that this would turn into a race situation. Again, let me clarify. I did not make the statement and say that anyone was racist. What I told the reporter was that the report that was produced by the town reflected racism with the number of racial tropes. I did not point the finger and call anyone racist. I would never do that. I don't know any of you all personally to point a finger at you and call you racist. That would be erroneous. That would be false. That is a charge that no one should have to live with. In fact, Supervisor Evans have never even said anything about race or racism playing a part in this. As I told you all last month at the meeting, while reading and reviewing the report, I pointed out that the report reflected and showed and what it produced was a level of racism that I can actually point to and support based on that report alone. So I just wanted to make that clear to the town board and to the community of Irondequoit that what I said was, and let me be clear once again, that the report that was produced reflected a tone of racism. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Do we have anyone that wishes to speak to the town? Seeing none, this ends our public input period. Madam Comptroller, for financial report.
Thank you. The 2025 financial results for the town as of February 28th. The total expenses, the actual as well as encumbered, are $5,868,000, or 13.8% of budget, which is lower than the 16.7% of the year that has elapsed. The breakdown is actual expenditures, $4,875,000, or 11.4%, and encumbered expenses, $993,000, or 2.3%. The general fund expenses are at 14.5% of budget, or $3,967,000. The breakdown is actual expenditures, $3,392,000, and encumbrances, $575,000. Together, the expenses in the highway fund are $916,000, or 15.3% of budget. Actual expenses represent $531,000, and current encumbrances are $385,000. Expenditures in the library fund are under budget at $271,000, or 9.3%. The sewer fund expenses are 12.3% of budget, equating to $487,000. The stormwater drainage expenses total $82,000, or 8.4% of budget. The general fund revenue received is $14,971,000, or 54.6% of budget. Included in the revenue is $13,010,000 of real estate tax, which is 100% of budget, and $222,000 of payment in lieu of tax revenue has been received. Regarding the entire town, $26,779,000, or 62.9% of revenue has been received to date. 100% of real estate tax and special district fees totaling $23,826,000 have been received. The library has received $2,809,000, or 96.4% of its budgeted revenue. The highway fund's collective receipts of $4,106,000 represent 68.7% of its budgeted revenue. The sewer fund has received $3,803,000, or 96.2% of budget. $970,000, or 98.7% of stormwater drainage budget has been received. This concludes the February 2025 financial report.
Thank you, Madam Controller. May I have a motion to adopt the financial report?
I'll move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any corrections, comments? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? The financial report is adopted. Madam Clerk, we have some minutes to approve.
Yes. February 10th, 2025, workshop town board meeting minutes.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments, or revisions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The minutes are approved. Madam Clerk?
February 18th, 2025, regular town board meeting minutes.
May I have a motion to approve?
Move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments, or revisions? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? The minutes are approved. Madam Clerk?
February 20th, 2025, special town board meeting minutes.
May I have a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments, or revisions? There's one revision, and I'm not sure if I read it in the minutes. One sec. May I have a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments, or revisions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The minutes are approved. Madam Clerk, we have a few resolutions.
For board action, we have item number 1, authorizing the provisional appointment of Assistant Building Inspector.
May I have a motion to adopt?
Moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
May I have an explanation?
Yes, thank you. This is due to a vacancy in our community development office for an assistant building inspector that I've discussed several times recently. This is a competitive position. The list was canvassed from civil service with no viable results. It was openly posted, an interview committee was formed, and their recommendation was to hire a Kyle Gutzmer. Kyle comes from a family of entrepreneurs, and he has the skill set that we're looking for and attention to detail that we need in that position.
Thank you, Mr. Director. May I have, is Kyle here tonight?
He is not.
Any questions, comments? With that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted.
Congratulations, Kyle.
Congratulations, Kyle.
Congratulations.
Madam Clerk.
Item number 2, calling for a public hearing on a proposed local law to amend Town Code Chapter 235 regarding short-term rentals.
May I have a motion to adopt?
Moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
May I have an explanation?
Yes, thank you. This is pursuant to the board's ongoing efforts to codify short-term rentals within the town of Arundecoit. This is simply calling for a public hearing to discuss the proposed code that was discussed at the workshop. It is included as attachment A in your board packet.
Any questions, comments, or discussion? We heard one about increasing, Mr. Attorney, increasing the fines. Is there a statutory limit as to what the per-day fine is? Or is it or is the town restricted on the enforcement action for this type of account?
So there may be a restriction in the code, the section of the town law that authorizes this, which is in I think it's section 268 of the town law. I have to look at that. There's other considerations too, because it's kind of a quasi-criminal, and whatever the amount could be could trigger right to jury trial. Is it a misdemeanor? Is it a felony? Typically they'd be violations. So once you start increasing the fine, you could be triggering some additional rights because it could be considered a misdemeanor. So that's some of the considerations to think about. I'd also add one other thing. So you didn't ask this directly, but the provisions of Town Law 268 are the same provisions that would allow for fines. If there was a violation, the town board would also have the ability to authorize litigation seeking a permanent injunction, for example, against somebody for violating the town code. That would also be another option.
So in other words, if someone continuously violates the law, we can prevent them from...
Yeah, you'd have to go to court and get a court order. Basically, you'd be seeking an injunction against them for violating the code. But, that's more expensive than a town court action, obviously. But, the particular case may warrant that.
Thank you for your explanation. Any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Item number 3, calling for a public hearing on the matter of granting a special use permit for the approval to construct and operate 8 new poles for small cell antennas with the associated equipment in the R1 and R2 residential districts.
Motion to adopt?
Moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
May I have an explanation?
Yes, thank you. This is calling for a public hearing regarding the installation of 8 new poles that would support the installation of small cell antennas. specifically, and I'll read off the addresses so that that's clear, these would be in front of or in the vicinity of 122 Mayfair Drive, 7 Leland Road, 10 Lake Terrace, 233 Pinecrest Drive, 124 Windale Road, 123 Montclair Drive, 119 Pinecrest Drive, and 221 Briarwood Drive. And this is what's called out in our town code because of the fact that these are all in the R1 and R2 residential districts that requires a special use permit from the town board. This will also require planning board approval as well.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Item number 4, authorizing a series of balance appropriation transfers within several funds of the 2024 operating budget.
Motion to adopt?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This is an annual resolution as we're closing out the 2024 fiscal year. This resolution would authorize transfers to be made within each of the operating funds to keep the numbers all in balance. The exhibit was handed out today. I was running a little late, so the town board does have that. There's no appropriation of fund balance needed to make these transfers with the exception of the Seabreeze Water Fund.
Any questions, comments?
Thank you for that.
Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Item number 5, authorizing the use of fund balance for a police vehicle.
Motion to adopt?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This resolution would authorize $50,000 from the general fund balance to be used to purchase a police vehicle. This funding came in late last year from an insurance recovery. It came in too late to amend the 2024 budget, so we're asking for the 2025 budget to be amended so the funds can be used for what they were intended to.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Item number 6, authorizing the amendment to the 2025 operating budget for the Justice Court to accept a grant from New York State.
Motion to adopt?
Moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, thank you.
Your
I think your
microphone
mic
is
is
quick.
not up.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's on.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. The court was awarded a grant in the amount of $27,800 from the Justice Court Assistance Program for scanning and shredding court documents and files, and we are requesting approval to accept this grant.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Item number 7, authorizing the attendance to the 2025 Dog Control Educational Seminar.
Motion to adopt? May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, sir. This is for Scott Donahue, our animal control officer, to attend the 2025 Animal Control Conference out in Webster, New York. So it's obviously an opportunity we send him to every year just to keep him updated on the latest topics and laws that are needed to do his job.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. And Madam Clerk, I think that brings us to 7:35.
Correct.
We have two public hearings scheduled. Madam Clerk?
So we have just the one public hearing. The second one has been postponed until the April 22nd regular town board meeting.
Thank you.
So the first public hearing, 7:35 PM. Item number 1, on the matter of amending a text amendment to Town Code, Chapter 235-69, fencing for the code of the town of Arundecoit.
Motion to adopt.
Move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The hearing is now open. Is there anyone here to speak on this hearing? I'm sorry, but while she does this, may I have an explanation?
Yeah, I can speak to the public hearings. This is simply to discuss the proposed changes to Chapter 235-69, which is the fence code.
Do you have a summary of the fence code?
Well, the resolution that follows would adopt the changes to the fence code, which were taken up in concert with Labella, our engineer, after hearing feedback from residents on the ambiguity and somewhat unclear directions of the fence code, as well as the several variances that we've given over the years. This codifies all that to make it make sense, to help make it more clear, and to also take into account changes that were proposed and adopted by the DEC relative to waterfront properties. So that's all taken into account with the changes here. This is nothing more restrictive than existed prior. It just makes it clear.
Thank you. We will now accept public comments. Is there anyone here to speak on the fence code? Seeing none, I will now open board discussion on the fence code.
I think most of our comments have been done, vetted at workshop, but I appreciate the efforts of Bill and your group and town engineer to get this brought so that much fewer variances have to be brought forward in the future.
And especially listening to our residents too, so that input went into this. Thank you.
Okay, I will now take a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The hearing is now closed. Madam Clerk, it appears there's a resolution for board action.
Correct. Item number 1, adopting a local law to amend Chapter 235-69 of the Code of the Town of Arundecoit.
May I have a motion?
Move.
May I have a second?
Second.
Any additional explanations? Any additional discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. And Madam Clerk, we'll now move back to the,
I just,
may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
yeah, we did. I just have, just a point of clarification. So we did pull the public hearing on the area down on St. Paul Boulevard. I'm just wondering if anyone was here to speak to that. So I'm wondering if we do want to hear those residents.
I think we should open the public hearing, keep it open until it closes. 'Cause if
Yeah,
we
because
close
it was
the public hearing-
advertised for tonight. I
Yes.
think it would make sense to
All right.
have the residents speak, but do hold the hearing open because I believe there was an issue with the sign.
Let's hold it open till next month.
Until
Yes,
next month.
right.
Okay, so, for those at home, I know Robert's rules, but I'm not an expert on every facet. Motion to open the public hearing.
Move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The hearing is now open, and we'll keep this hearing open until next month. Is there anyone here to speak on the St. Paul? Please line up. And for the record, before you speak, can you sign your name so we can get it on the record who you are?
We're
That's okay,
bringing
it's
it
right
down.
here. They're
We-
bringing
we-
it down.
We took
Yep,
it up
that's okay.
earlier, sorry.
Hi, my name is Katha Pattison. I'm at 151 Lakefront, which is the end of Somerville Drive, which is at the corner where they want to build these duplexes. First of all, I can't believe the town of Arundecoit would ever even approve something like this because of the sewage problems, the flooding problems, and the traffic that it would cause. We don't need more residents in this area, especially if they're married and have more than one car, if they have families with multiple cars. It's just a nightmare as it is with the rentals that are there. There are beginning to be more and more rentals in Somerville than there are residences. The people that have lived there 40, 50 years understand that there is sewage problems and garbage problems and all kinds of construction problems. It's an older area of Arundecoit, and it's very historical, and those people who live down there love it. There are deer, there are turkeys, there are animals that live there, and already they are being driven out of their habitat, and the only way to get rid of them is to kill them with a car. It's just unacceptable that duplexes would be built on that corner. Yes, build a decent restaurant, build a decent one-building structure, not more residences. It's already a nightmare, and that's all I've got to say. Thank you.
Please remember to sign the sheet.
Hi, my name is Denise Patton, and we have a house at 117 Somerville Drive, which is just one house away from the corner. And I just have to ditto everything that she said. I don't think anybody wants any more properties down there. There's no parking at all. And it is a nightmare there. So I'm just voting no. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm sorry, I forgot. Does the board have any questions of the first speaker or second speaker? Thank you.
Hello, my name's Stefan Granz. I'm Katha's neighbor. I live on the lake also. My father over there, Jürgen Granz. We live together there, but yeah, I mean, this would literally double the amount of people that live on the street, period. Like, there's two people that live in a full house, two people that live in a full house, and then you're going to build all these duplexes. The amount of parking there is a really big issue. I would honestly say just turn it into a parking lot. Like, no exaggeration. There's nowhere to park there. If someone comes to my street, it's a dead-end street. We have parking on our property, which we let neighbors use if they want to sometimes and whatever. But other than that, there is no parking on the street, period. The rental properties that she's talking about don't have driveways. They would happily pay for parking. So, I mean, there's been restaurant after restaurant, bar after bar at that location. I'm sure you guys know that. So nobody wants to just do the same thing over again, but I mean, the amount of people that it would bring to the neighborhood, the traffic is an issue, the parking is an issue. It would change how some of these rental properties work too. These people literally have like a little yard about this big, and then there's a street, and they park their car into the yard to try and stay out of the way of the plows, as it is. And then we're further down the road at the dead end. I have to get by all of that just to get out. So, I mean, the amount of people that it would bring to the neighborhood is really the concern, I think, for most people, because it's a quiet neighborhood. Like, my favorite part of living there is I can leave my windows open and it's dead silent. That's it. Like, that's the whole reason we like living there. So, I'm not against something being built there. It's a nice lot. Something obviously needs to go there. But as my father's pointed out many times to me, it's the only commercial property in the entire area. It's the only thing you could build a store on. Other than that, there's bars, and that's really it. So I don't know what to suggest, but I would not like that many properties jammed into one small location is all. So thank you guys for your time, and I'll concede here.
I have a question before you. Sure. And now, it's probably addressed to all three of you, but you were saying that there are rental properties without parking. Are these short-term rentals or long-term rentals?
I think it depends on the person. There's one lady who's lived there a very long time. They're very small houses, like literally about this tall, little tiny houses, and a couple of them have gotten fixed up rather nicely, but they're small, and so that's what people are going for. But I don't know how you do anything really different in the area unless you just build a home there. But as my dad's pointed out to me, it's the only commercial property in the area. So I'm sure that's something that's been a little bit of a struggle also. There's nothing else that's zoned for anything but residential in the whole area. Like you have to drive a couple blocks just to get to a store, which is nice to have one that close, but if you're coming to my house, you're coming to my house. You're not coming to my house and then we go do stuff. Like it's really at the end of a road. But yeah, I don't think that they're long-term for the most part, but there is a lady that's lived there most of my life. There's been a couple people who've lived in these houses for a long period of time, but then when they pass or they move or whatever, somebody fixes it up and maybe the next person doesn't stay for super long. But even the larger homes have rotated owners several times as they've tried to fix it up, and they're all old homes. They all need work. They all are looking for the next thing to do in the area. These small homes, the little rentals that I'm talking about, they're not somewhere I would want to live forever, but the nice lady that I'm talking about is about this big, and she doesn't hit her head like I do, so she's okay with it. It's nice. We like her. We just don't necessarily want like people rotating in, and you never get to know them. But it's more about the amount of people all at once that would maybe change the neighborhood. St. Paul is the only entrance to this entire neighborhood.
People think.
So go ahead, Kathy.
People think just because they move in that they can walk through his yard and our yard to go to the beach. No, it's private property. Our lawyers, our real estate, the people that give us insurance say no. You put up signs, no trespassing, private property. We have dogs. They used to have a dog. You don't want people walking through your yard. And they all think, oh, I can go to the beach if I live here. No, you can't. They have no beach rights. So would you buy a duplex out on St. Paul in Somerville knowing you can't go to the beach? You can't, not from our house.
So you're saying the renters that are in the neighborhood are walking through your yards to
No,
get to the beach?
they all know there's no beach rights. They all understand that.
But there's a polite understanding in the neighborhood. Like everyone that's been there for a while knows that we don't appreciate it. But just ask. I don't care. Go have a barbecue, but just let us know. It's more about liability than anything. I don't want somebody going through my yard and they get hurt and then I got to hear about it. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I've lived next to Katha my entire life. Like my father is handing the house down to me. My neighbor on the other direction, her mother owned it and then gave it to her. So that's it as far as like the neighborhood's concerned. I mean, people can make changes and do whatever they'd like to their homes, but this is a big change. This would be a big change because there's nothing like it in the area at all. It's single homes for the most part. There's one or two properties that have like two addresses on the house, but You know, when this first got floated, my dad thought that people were going to come in and buy up the whole neighborhood. If you want to do that, you want to buy my house so that everyone has beach rights, go ahead, you know. But other than that, she's right. It'll become an issue very quickly. So, I concede again. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. And we're going to keep the public hearing open until next month. Madam Clerk, can you read the next item?
Item number 8, declaring surplus items and authorizing the auction or destruction of said items.
Have a motion to adopt? May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, this is for, we're offering for surplus one of our old undercover vehicles, a 2004 Mercury Mountaineer. It has gotten to the point where the repairs are costing more than the price of the vehicle.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk, next item.
Item number 9, authorizing attendance to the 2025 Bivona Child Advocacy Center Child Abuse Summit.
May I have a motion to adopt?
Move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation, Chief?
There we go. Yes, sir. This is for the annual Child Advocacy Center training conference. We send one of our officers, the actual investigator assigned to the Crimes Against Children Task Force with the FBI. Obviously, a chance to get up to speed on the latest trends and techniques used to make these. Yes, we need to get updated on these much-needed arrests for these people.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Item number 10, authorizing attendance to the Red Dot Instructor for Pistol-Mounted Optics certification put on the Excelsior Training Group.
May I have a motion to adopt?
Moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, sir. It's sending 2 of our firearms instructors to a 2-day course over at the Greece Police Department to become certified Red Dot pistol instructors, seeing as how we started our transition to Red Dot pistol optics for our service handguns.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk, next item.
Item number 11, authorizing attendance at the New York State Association of Hostage Negotiators 2025 Annual Conference.
Motion to adopt?
Moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, sir. This will be sending 4 of our officers to the conference. Actually, 2 will be. I think it's personal. They keep on giving me this mic. Yes, sending 4 of our officers to the training conference here. Yeah, I got it. Will be 2 officers will be getting a free slots there. There we go. Yes, 2 of our officers begin a free slot because one of our officers is actually on the board of directors for the organization. So again, worthwhile training for yearly training that our negotiators need.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Just thank you for providing all of these opportunities for training. And also, it's really lovely to hear about the leadership that is happening within our force so that there are these opportunities, but learning from each other, I think it's really great to see this, so thank you.
And thank you for your microphone perseverance.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk, next item.
We had a walk-in, so it'll be item number 12. Resolution authorizing towing agreement with Cristo Towing and Impound Incorporated.
Motion to adopt.
Move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation, Chief?
Yes, sir. This is our towing agreement actually ended in 2003. We were waiting to actually get our impound lot expanded, which it is now done. And now this will incorporate the newfound new towing fees, and we'll also be towing most of our vehicles back to our impound lot, providing better quality of service to residents that need to retrieve their vehicles. Plus, it will also generate some revenue back to the town. We had a competitive RFP process that went out, and Christo's was the only company that actually put in an RFP that encompassed everything that we were asking for.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions or comments? I have one. Other than the fees and what is the benefit to the town of the changes for the new RFP? I think I understand it, but this is mainly for the public to understand.
Sure. For obviously the fees, any of the vehicles that are not claimed after the legal period, we will be holding auctions, several auctions throughout the year. All that money comes directly right back to the town instead of actually Christo's taking them and scrapping them and collecting those fees. So that'll be for us. Another thing is right now, if somebody needs to retrieve their vehicle and it's actually towed over to Christo's, they have to come to our building first, get a release of their vehicle, have to go over to Christo's, pay their tow fee, and then come back here to actually get their car. So they have to make 3 stops just for one vehicle. So this way it'll be a one-stop shop. We'll be accepting credit cards and exact cash, just like we used to do for bail. So it'll be a one-stop shop. People can come right to our headquarters and retrieve their vehicle instead of having to make 3 trips.
Thank you. So this will increase revenue and also provide convenience for our residents or those people who having their cars towed.
100%.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Item number 13, authorizing the supervisor to enter into a contract for design and installation of solar panel system and electric vehicle charger upgrade.
Motion to adopt?
Move.
May I have a second?
Second.
Madam Commissioner?
Yes, thank you. This resolution would award the installation of solar panels on the farmer's market shed as well as in replacement EV charging station here at the Town Hall campus to Green Spark Solar. We held the RFP interview committee. We interviewed 2 vendors that submitted for this project, and the interview committee unanimously agreed that Green Spark was the most comprehensive and one-stop shop contractor that could deliver this project. They also would do all the necessary paperwork to procure all of the incentives and grants and paperwork and make this a turnkey project for the town. So it would be very exciting.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
No, thank you for the opportunity to be a part of the process.
Thank you.
And just for those at home, this covered in the workshop, this will represent a savings to the taxpayer by lowering the amount that we spend annually on energy costs for the market shed. Since there's no other questions or comments, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Item number 14, authorizing the supervisor to enter into a contract with Game Changer Solutions for umpire services for town-sponsored recreational leagues at McAvoy Park.
Motion to adopt?
Moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, thank you. This will allow us to move forward with hiring our umpires for our adult and senior competitive softball leagues at McAvoy Park this year.
Any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Item number 15, authorizing polling place agreement with Monroe County Board of Elections.
Motion to adopt.
Moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
Madam, may I have an explanation?
Yes, thank you. This resolution will allow us to work with the Board of Election to designate the community center as a polling location for both the primary and general elections this year.
Any questions or comments? And just for those at home, the Board of Elections do have new voting machines, so it will be a little bit different. So I encourage you to go to the Board of Election and start being familiar with the machines for the upcoming elections. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, the resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Item number 16, authorizing the acceptance of gifts for Irondequoit's Winterfest celebration.
Motion to adopt.
Move.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have an explanation?
Yes, thank you. This resolution serves as our acknowledgement, our official acknowledgement to the fantastic sponsors, donors, and volunteers that participated in Winterfest last month here at Town Hall campus. We couldn't pull off an event like that without the generosity of our community, so this is our opportunity to acknowledge them and thank them for being involved.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk?
Item number 17, approving the special event license for Point Pleasant Firemen's Association Sportsman's Raffle number 32.
Motion to adopt.
Moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
All, may I have an explanation?
This is their annual event that they hold. This is their 32nd one. And all approvals have been received. And it'll be held on April 26th.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the resolution is adopted. Madam Clerk, do we have any other resolutions?
Not at this time.
Our next meeting is, our workshop meeting is April 14th, 2025 at 4 p.m., followed by a regular town board meeting at April 22nd April 22nd, 2025 at 7 p.m. This includes our regular town hall meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Moved.
May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned.